What's going on today, everybody? Hope you're having a fantastic day. I know I am. I'm gonna go ahead and start working on this Audi again. So I had the engine and the transmission out. I had to do a clutch in it, and I checked the timing and I found out that the timing was off a tooth. So we went through, we put a new timing belt in it, we put a whole bunch of stuff in it, thermostat, a whole bunch of new stuff in it, water pumps, stuff like that to just kind of bulletproof it. And that fixed the timing part, but we're having problems with the car not wanting to start the first time you start it. Like if you let it sit overnight, you try to start it in the morning, it takes a while for it to start. So we're going through, we're trying to figure stuff out, and I think I've chased it down to the fuel pump. You go to turn it on and you can't really hear the fuel pump. So today we're gonna be working on that. I got a new one, it just showed up in the mail, so we're gonna go ahead and try to install that on the Audi today. And hopefully that fixes our problem. I'll show you what we're having problems with because it's weird. It'll start fine once it's warm or once it's started, but if you let it sit for a while, it doesn't start at all. So, very strange. We'll go out, we'll take a look at it, and I'll show you what we're talking about. So, we hop in the car, we put the ignition in, we let it go, and you can't hear the fuel pump start. And the fuel pump's sitting right back here. And you can't hear anything when we turn the key over. So that's what I'm thinking is the problem, is that. Because when we go to start it, it won't start. So if we turn it on, and then we try to start it, it'll just sit here and try to start. Pump the gas, it doesn't do anything. So try it again, it kind of hesitates. It wants to start, but it's not starting. It'll start, but it really does not like to run. But once it starts up and gets running, it's fine. Once it gets going, it's fine. And the fuel, this is important, that the fuel is under a quarter tank. But it's running fine. And it's cold still. And once it starts, it's fine. I can turn it off. And then if I go to turn it back on, it starts right up. And it's dialed. But it's just that first initial startup, when we start it in the morning, that it has problems. So we'll go ahead, we'll see if this fuel pump will fix this. So the easiest way to get to your fuel pump, you want to be passenger side, move your seat all the way forward, and then we'll go ahead and move the seat all the way that way. And then our fuel pump is actually sitting right underneath here. So your fuel tank is in this back section right here. You've got a split with the Quattro. You have a drive shaft that comes through, and you have to split the fuel pump or fuel tank with this hump or the tunnel for that drive shaft. So there's fuel on this side, this is where your fuel pump is. Secondary fuel pump over there that has like a Venturi system that pulls it over to this side. But our fuel pump sitting right here, so we got to take these panels off. So we'll go ahead and start taking these panels off. We need the key to get into this one, so we'll get the key, start taking stuff out. Got the panel out, and it's held in with these little push clips that just go in there, pull the bottom out, and then you'll want to pull it kind of sideways and down, and it'll come out of the push clips that are in the top. Now that we've got that access, we've got Torx bits in here to get this cubby off. You can see the bottom of the fuel pump right here. So we'll get this cubby out, and then move on to our fuel pump. So there's 3 bolts and then 2 of these pressure clips that are holding this cubby in. 1 bolt right here, 2 bolts holding this handle in, and then in the back there's these 2 pressure clips that are kind of hard to get to. But after that, it should come out. Looks like we might have to take the cable out of our handle here to make sure the cable can go through the box. So we'll do that. The easiest way to do it is to open it, pull it open, and then slowly close it while pulling back on the cable. Pull back out and up, make sure it's out of this cubby, pull it back, and then it will come untucked from there, and you'll be able to get the black part out. And then all you have to do is rotate it around to the side, pull the ball out of this little hole right here. Now the handle's off, cubby can come out. And there we go. That's what we're after, is that little plate right there. There you can see the 2 soft plugs that went in. There's 2 screws right here and 1 screw right there. So it's really hard to see down in there, but you see that black clip in the center? That needs to come off of the fuel, and then there's a black clip behind it that needs to come off for the wiring. So there's 2 that needs to come off before this whole thing will just pull out. So we've got our lid off, there's a spring. The spring isn't coming out, so that's cool. I've just pushed the other fuel lines that are on top over to the side so we can work. We're gonna go ahead and get that fuel line off, disconnected, and then the electrical disconnected, and it should pull out. Now we've got that line disconnected, we gotta go ahead and disconnect the power. 2 tabs on the side, and that will disconnect. And now we should be able to pull that bottom portion of the fuel pump out. Well, that was definitely harder said than done. There's a little clip in here. It's holding the pump onto the side. It's got a handle right here, right there, that you need to pull up to get these clips off. Once those clips come off, you can just pull it up the side. It's sitting right back in the back here. Just pull it up the side, and then it should come out. You have to finagle the hoses around, but you can see there's the old hoses right in there, and then the wiring. We'll pull the wiring up out of the gas and move on. So now we've got our new fuel pump. We'll go ahead and take the cap off. So this is gonna have to come off. We'll leave these 2 on till later, till we get ready to do the top. Once we seal it on, then we'll take those ones off. But there's everything that comes in the kit. Bought a whole unit as one. And we'll go ahead and install this one now. Now that bracket is a pickup tube, and that bracket is a pain to get on, but it is doable. You can do it. And it's that one, I'll show it to you real quick. It's really hard to get in there, but it squeezes between 2 pieces and then it clicks down. So there's a little, kind of like a hammer type side that's pretty easy to pinch. That's the one that you want to hold on to. And you're gonna push it in to the plastic behind your. There's a hump that sticks up on top of the fuel pump that goes towards the back. And the fuel pump will go, if you're looking at it towards the back of the car, it'll be on the right side. The front of the car, if you're looking at the front, it'd be on the left side, driver's side. So you'll go ahead, push it in there, and then push it down. that seats it. You want that seated well because that's a pickup tube for the fuel. That's how it gets fuel into the tank from the other side and into the bowl of the actual fuel pump. So make sure that's in there, nothing's clogging it up, and we'll go ahead and install the other fuel line as well as the wiring, and then we'll be into putting this all back together. Now we've got our fuel pump installed. There's an arrow facing forward for going forward, but you remember you have your 2 hoses on this side and your plug on the other side, so make sure that those are in the right spots. And if you remove the rubber ring around the outside to pull it out, make it easier, don't forget to put it back in. I put it back in and forgot to put the rubber ring back in, so put that back in. And now we're gonna go ahead and work on putting our fuel pumps, or our fuel lines, excuse me, onto the fuel pump. So we'll just go ahead, clip them on, take this one off, untuck this one, clip that one on, and then put our power to it. Now we will see if it actually turns on. So here we go. I'm gonna turn the key, and you can actually hear the fuel pump pumping this time. Before, you couldn't hear anything. So we'll go ahead and give it a start, see if it'll start. Now it's probably gonna have some air bubbles going because it'll have air in the system because it's all fresh. But our fuel gauge is about where it was before, so that's good. And I've got a PCV valve that's causing that idle problem, so we can fix that. But it's running and it started first try. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the car off, let it sit there for a second, and see if we can hear the fuel pump prime again. And we can. Before we couldn't hear the fuel pump priming. Now we can hear it priming. Well, that's cool. We're gonna go ahead and put everything back together. I'm checking for leaks, so I had it running, and I'm gonna have it running again and check for leaks, make sure that there isn't anything causing problems. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put all those panels back on and get the car back to running. And I won't be able to check it until it sits for a while, so I might come back and check it a little bit later because it only happens when it's cold. Very first time after sitting for a while. And a lot of the problem was it was a valve in the fuel pump system that was bleeding off. It wouldn't hold the pressure and it would take a while. You couldn't hear the pump actually start, so the pump was starting to fail and get weak. So we've got a new pump, we've got a new valve, and they will hold the pressure hopefully over that time and actually keep up with the demand of fuel that we have now. So we're gonna put it all together, and I might check in with you later after it sits for a while. We will see.